Good evening and welcome to the Gilbert City Council, regular City Council meeting of May 13th, 2025. It is now 6:06 p.m. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilor Natasha.
Present.
Councilor Horn.
Present.
Mayor Oberstar.
Here.
Councilor Skirvin.
Here.
Councilor Pond.
Here.
We have a quorum, we can have a meeting. Next, can everybody help me with the Pledge of Allegiance? Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have any additions to the clerk to the agenda?
I would like to add that DNR Ridge appraisal to our new business. And then also, we have 2 applications for summer help. And when the council had approved 3, we only initially had 2 applicants. So I would also like to reopen the summer help deal for 1 week because we did have another application, but it came in after the deadline. I cannot accept that without reopening it. So those are the 2 things I'd like to add.
Okay,
Do we scratch item C off of the new
Perfect.
business on the second page?
what's that, Rudy?
That's the fire department air pack contract.
Are we gonna table that till, or what are we gonna?
Yeah, you can just
Just
table it
table
to
it?
our next
Yeah, we
meeting.
can put it in there, okay? Okay, we need a motion to add these to the agenda.
I'll make a motion to add the 2 items to agenda and scratch item C off the agenda.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilor Vrtajek, supported by Councilor Horn to approve the 2 issues that the clerk brought up to our agenda, the DNR Ridge appraisal and reopen applications for summer help, and scratch off new business, the fire department air pack that we've already discussed. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Consent agenda. Everybody look through the consent agenda and have any issues with the minutes of April 22nd, the working session of April 22nd, seminary board minutes, register of 4/22 to 5/09. I don't think there was, other than I saw the minutes stated that Mike, the clerk, was involved with, what the heck was that, with the recycling issue to get it cleaned up over there. And that was Paul's idea to get that,
I didn't.
but it was,
put
that's
that
the way I
there,
read
yeah.
in the.
We'll ask Marion about it.
In the minutes here, that he gave, you got the credit for that.
I did a
You
fine
ever
job,
see
but I
that?
actually was gonna thank all of you this
Huh?
evening, so.
I don't know if Paul wants, if he
Yeah.
saw that, if he wants
No,
to.
no, I will,
I'm good with what it.
I'm
Leave it there, leave
great,
it alone.
very appreciative of what was done.
Well, I just want to bring that up if you wanted to change that or not, but if you're okay with it.
That's fine.
Yeah. Other than that, we can go ahead and approve the consent agenda then.
I'll motion to approve.
Motion to approve consent agenda by Councilor Skirvin. I hear a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilor Horn. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, have public input. Anybody in the audience tonight have anything they wish to discuss with the council other than what's on tonight's agenda? Please turn the mic on at the button and then state your name.
Hi, my
You can
name's
pull it
Wendy.
down. Ready?
Wendy Flanagan, and I was the campground manager for 4 years. at Sherwood Forest. I'm here because I did not get paid my full amount for the 2024 season. I was supposed to get 30,000. I got 4,000 a month from May to October. Then I received a check in November and one in December. The city clerk stopped my payments, so I did not get my January, February, March, and April. So I'm due $4,000. And I tried to get it taken care of with the city clerk. He hung up on me twice. He told me he refused to discuss it with me further, to take it up with the city attorney. So I called the city attorney and left 2 messages with him, and he never responded. So I'm bringing it to you. I worked hard for that money. And even after, because the contract says it's due November, I went ahead December, January, in February, I continued to take calls for the campground. I took over 100 reservations in January, and I didn't get paid for any of that. I had to pay for my own internet for those months as well to be able to take care of that on the computer. But I'm just asking council to direct city clerk to issue me a check for $4,000. I had paperwork showing that payments start in May of each year and go the 12 months from there. According to, I had all this stuff printed up, copies for each one of you. I left them in my camper. I noticed it when I got here. I went, oh, I forgot my papers. But I do have papers that I can give to you to show that I'm due that money. So that's what I'd like to see happen, is that council direct city clerk to pay the $4,000.
Okay, thank you, Wendy, for coming here and telling us about the situation here. I'm going to have Mike explain his part of it, but I just want, for the people of Gilbert and for you, to be fair about both of it, all of this stuff, and whatever the city attorney, and so we didn't draw up the contract, city attorney and the city clerk and yourself, look at this contract, and whatever is determined, if it's already, maybe been determined already, if you're due money or not. I will listen to what that determination is legally.
Okay, yeah. It does say I'm to get 30,000.
Okay, Mike?
When Wendy came to me and I checked into this, I went through the payments that she was made in the last year and had Marion make a printout of them. The total was $30,000. So if there's some kind of gross injustice here that somehow needs to be discovered, we'll look it over. But my review of it at the time was that she was paid $30,000. That's what Marion told me. I looked everyone over. It appeared to be correct, but the timing of the contract could somehow influence this. All I know is that in that 12-month period, we paid her $30,000.
It was paid already.
Yeah, and so I will check into it. I'll have it for you at our next meeting with all the details.
Okay, I will come to the next meeting. I'd like that to be on the agenda. The reason you're coming up with 30,000 is you're counting January, February, March, and April, which were payments for the previous contract. Those were not for the 2024. And I have papers from City Hall that shows what was supposed to be paid when. And it'll show that I start in May getting my payments. It goes May to April. And so the January, February, March, and April of 2024 was for the 2023 contract. So if you would look through that, you would see that that's what happened.
Counselor Skirvin, go ahead.
So I have a little bit of understanding, and I don't want to get the facts incorrect, so my question is specific to the contract. My understanding was that the contract ran through the end of October, and that the previous council did not take an action to renew a contract. I know that this council
my understanding too,
did not
Paul.
renew that contract as well. So any payments beyond, I'm actually a little disturbed that there were payments beyond the contract, so I would like for those facts to be presented to us. Thank you.
Again, I would like to have Mike look at it again, and the city attorney, and when they have to come back, and maybe they'll reach out to you to be in part of that conversation, and come back at the next meeting with the facts. I mean,
Right. I will bring my paperwork that I printed out. I've got 5 copies, one for each of you.
well,
And it shows a list of payments that were due for the 2022 and 2023 payment schedule. And on it, it shows that January, February, March, and April of 2024, or 2023, was paid through April of 2024. Had nothing to do with the 2024 contract.
could you bring those copies of those to the clerk and?
Yeah, I will bring the copies to the next meeting.
Well, no, before that. to the
Oh, okay.
city- To City Hall, so we can look at those.
Oh, okay. Yep, I can do that.
Okay, copies, so,
Right.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else got any questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, I really didn't want to have to do this.
Please bring those copies, okay?
Okay, yep, thank you.
Anybody else in the audience tonight have anything to discuss with the council? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on. Reports by council. City councilors first, Councilor Skirvin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First thing, I would like to thank the volunteers that showed up and helped us clean the recycling area this past couple of weeks. I think we had 5 people that showed up. Took us about an hour. So that did definitely save on, it just looks a lot nicer, and it saved on, we didn't have to pay city crew to go pick things up. And so hopefully we can keep that area clean.
I wasn't aware of it.
So I would like to, we filled an entire dumpster, so, and we did it pretty quickly, so. If at all possible, Mike, if we can, now that it's clean, if we can have the city crew reset the posts for the fence. One of the things that we did talk about as we were cleaning stuff up is, gosh, it would be nice if we could get some sort of concrete barrier behind those canisters. I don't know what the cost is or anything is like that. Yeah, just the regular, just because what's happening is the county is coming and taking the roll-offs, and then they're backing into the fence, and so if we could have fence, barrier, and then the roll-offs, I think that would prevent some of that stuff and hopefully reduce the litter that goes into the area, so anyway, thank you for everybody. Next item, I just wanted to let everybody know that the flower planting is, our target date is going to be May 21st. It's a Wednesday at 11 o'clock. We're going to be meeting here at City Hall. The flowers are currently sitting in my garage. We're making sure that they're getting sun and now a lot of water because of how dry it is. So, but pending the weather, we'll have it done on Wednesday the 21st, and anybody that wants to join us is welcome to. It usually takes us about an hour and a half or so to get them done. So, and I saw Sam put the pots out, I think today, so, we're ready for that, so. The next item, I mentioned this to Ty, it might come up in his. So I've noticed on various kind of living in Minnesota social media groups, where Gilbert has unfortunately been highlighted as cliff diving destination. I was actually just down at the cliffs today and notified Ty. He sent down a squad. So it's that time of season again. I think we need to get the word out about that it is not acceptable for cliff diving. It is extremely dangerous. The water is down 20, 25 feet from the normal. Even in the best conditions, it was not a safe situation, and now it's even worse. So just want to make sure that we get that kind of addressed.
Did you notice the signage that we have down there?
Oh, yes, we
Okay,
have
good.
signage. It's still there.
Yeah, I know, I'm
It's
just,
there. It's just
I checked
people
the
are-
other day about it.
Yep,
You
people
said
are ignoring
something,
it.
so.
Next item, I just want to check in. I'm sure that Sam has a schedule, but I just want to keep on top of this because it is a big issue in the community, that we get the banners and the flags out on the main street prior to Memorial Day. Particularly, our veterans, it's very important to them, so I want to make sure that that's, gets done. I know that there is a cemetery cleanup coming. I have the date written down. I think it's the 22nd. So we should try to communicate that to citizens as well. And then the last item that I had, well, actually I have two more. So I have a question about, we had a note about 2 meetings ago about the large trash pickup. And so I wanted to see what the status is, because I don't think we ever took any action on that.
No action is taken.
Okay.
I haven't taken any action.
Well, what do you mean?
That was the one where
Well,
people come and sign
That
up.
discussion,
That we sign up in City
Oh,
Hall.
that
and come-
one.
And then people will come
Okay.
and move things.
I thought we set a date.
We said it.
Done it already. I don't remember when
Right
it
here.
was.
We had an
But
alley
we didn't
cleanup.
actually set that date.
June 3rd
We
through 7th.
approved the spring cleanup.
Yeah, we approved the spring
but
cleanup,
we
and that was
didn't, we
it.
didn't ever talk about this one.
Oh, so,
Okay.
yeah, it's already written out. It's 3rd
Yeah.
through the 7th.
So I think we have to, we should probably vote on that and say, yes, that's what we're gonna
Oh, I
do.
thought we did. That's why I thought this paper came.
No, we never voted on that
We
one.
voted on the spring one.
Yeah.
Well, we should add it then, I suppose, so we can,
Do you want?
because it's not far away, 3rd through 7th, yeah.
Add the agenda.
So is
You
that
can make a
something?
motion right here.
So, I would like to make a motion that we add this to new business so that we can address it.
No,
and
you
make sure
can make
it's-
a motion right now under your
Oh, okay.
business, okay?
Okay. We've all had copies of it. I didn't see any issues with it. I would like to make a motion to approve those dates so that we can start advertising this.
Yeah, put it online.
Yeah.
Second.
That's the one where they have to call City Hall.
Yeah,
pay
you
a
can
fee,
pass it
get on
down.
a list.
Yeah.
You can pass it to me if you don't want to look at it.
You can look at it? I need to look at it. But okay, I have a motion by Counselor Skirbeck, supported by Counselor Bertocnik, to approve the dates for Gilbert City large trash pickup by appointment, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And with the dates, what are the dates on there?
It was the
3rd through 7th, June.
June 3rd,
June 3rd,
submitted by
seventh.
May 29th.
and to submit here by May 29th to City Hall. We're gonna have to post this on electronic board and paper board out there.
Take care of that.
For a garbage fee service of fee $10 for people to look at for large items that are not acceptable at the alley pickup, that were not acceptable during the alley trash pickup. So if people in Gilbert have any large items to get this, to throw away and not able to get to the dumps, please call City Hall after this motion is approved. City of Gilbert large trash pickup, June 3rd to June 7th. And reserve this by May 29th by calling City Hall or coming in person here. All items will be picked up in the alley by appointment only and reservation only. Any more discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
And then my one last item, so 2 days ago was Minnesota Statehood Day, and it's been a little bit of a irritation that we have the old Minnesota state flag behind us, It is a ceremonial flag, and state law does say that we either have the choice of not displaying it or displaying the correct state flag. I don't care which one, but I think that that one does need to be put into an archive as designated by state law or destroyed or whatever. But we are not supposed to be displaying that flag, so I would ask that we take action to have that changed.
Well, I don't know if we need a motion, but I'm consensus, I'm in agreement with that we have to be, I believe, in compliance with state legislatures' statutes that they pass, so.
Once.
Well, if we need a state flag, we should have one, so let's get it done. Okay. You don't need a motion on that, I don't believe,
There's
consensus,
money in the budget for that.
yeah.
So, that's it. I know that was a lot.
Okay. I will tell you that those block barriers, I bought 3 of them for $500 some, so if you want one between 5 of dumpsters on there, it's 5, be a little over, but less than $1,000 anyway, so. If that's the big barrier that you want, you ain't moving that, so. Like that table here, right?
Talking about Jersey barriers now, Carl?
Like your table right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big concrete ones that SEPI makes.
You're not talking just the curb ones, the small curb ones that are set that high.
The big Jersey barriers, they split the highway with it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you can buy them, but
Yeah,
you can buy them, okay. But the ones I'm looking at are solid like your table right there, and as long as your table.
Yeah.
3 of them for $500.
Yeah,
That's what I bought.
where,
6-footers. That's 8-foot table, I'm sure, but
Seppi's?
6-foot.
Seppi's.
Huh? Seppi's, yeah,
you get a quote on them.
yeah. Okay, Counselor Ponton,
I don't have anything tonight.
Counselor Vrtajnik.
I'd like to thank Mr. Kern and his wife Barb for picking up the cans for the 3rd of July committee and delivering them, and picking up the cans that blew around. I think he had to make 3 trips to the can location. Is that correct, Mr. Kern? Yeah. Okay. So they kept the area very clean. I see they were in black bags and not the white bags that were floating all around. And then I'd like to get somebody to talk to Sam about getting those trees removed. I have some pictures of the trees being felled at the cemetery. And I talked to the Calgaro, and they're wondering when they can grind the stubs, but they have to get the trees moved and the branches picked up to get them out of there, so.
I thought we had the motion to have Calgaro move the trees away.
No. They were gonna,
Stop, calm down.
Not move the trees away. Because I thought the discussion was we'd probably wait 2 years for them to get moved. So we're gonna have them done right away.
We made them, there was a motion to cut them down and grind the stumps. Sam was gonna remove the debris.
I know there's 2 parts to that motion. I thought,
I'll reach
take
out
them
to
down,
Sam.
move them out of the way, and,
I don't believe so.
okay.
No.
It was take them down, grind them.
Yeah.
and then-
City-
we gotta
City
get-
was supposed to move them out. of
Well,
the
we
way.
got 2 weeks to get them out of the way. We gotta get them out of the way here, so,
Yeah, they have to be out of the way by Memorial Day.
yeah. And grind the stumps down.
But the sooner the better, because
I know.
Calgaro's got, schedule also.
No, we have to get on that right away.
I told Calgaro I would call them when there was removed, so,
Yeah.
and the cemetery committee is going to help clean up the grindings.
Okay, well, let's get that, that's only 2 weeks away. We got 2 weeks, so,
I will talk to Sam.
okay. I'm okay with that, yeah.
And I also
Also okay with that?
Yeah.
You just have to cut them up and just take the loader and push them in a pile so they can clean up that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw them in the dump,
Huh.
haul them out of there.
Eventually, or whatever they're gonna do to them, I don't know.
That's when they're doing it.
Anything else, Counselor Vrtajnik?
Yeah, I gave you some pictures of one of our sheds down by the wastewater treatment plant, the garage that they used to use for cardboard. And those pictures show, let's see pictures. that is a Pigeon Haven, and you can't tell it's a cement floor because of all the droppings on it. So I'd like to get that, whether that
Removed,
equipment is any
yeah.
good in there or not, because Ty knows about pigeon droppings. So, pictures that you see,
What use is it to us anymore, that,
You could
well, I
use it
thought
for
that we could
storage.
store the firewood for
Yeah.
the campground, and
okay, all right,
So-
good idea.
I don't know if that equipment is there is any good or not any good, but it's so full of droppings that it's hard to tell. I'd like to get it cleaned out by the city crew, and I know that they just bought the campground a new 3,000-pound pressure washer, and they could wash that thing out to get it cleaned up.
I'm okay with that.
And then get a new door on there, so lockable door, so whatever you put in there, you can put a hasp and lock it.
And it doesn't fill up with pigeons again.
I'm okay with all that, so we can, Mike can get that put on the list for Sam.
I suppose it go out for bids for that door. I don't know if Sam has time to put a door up, but,
No, we should solicit bids for
yeah,
Door.
right, yeah. And just, it doesn't have to be an insulated door or anything, just a single panel door, just so you can lock it, that's all, yeah.
They also have that cardboard crushing machine down there
Two
that's
pieces of plywood on a hinge.
sitting and rusting that they were supposed to get rid of a number of years ago. I think you could get it out of there and put it up for a bid or something like that, or,
We attempted that a couple times, and I don't know, I don't know if it ever got out on bid. Ty, I think you were in on those conversations with that cardboard crusher down there. Remember how we wanted to get it on bids? Did it ever get that far?
Bids, and my section, I just went through the Minnesota bid, thing I'll talk about during my time, but we can do that now that I've actually had, just got an account 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
So,
okay, yeah.
if the city wants anything on it, I'll talk about it, well, I'm also talking about now, the council approved, 2 ATVs and that blaze should be put on state bid, or to be put on the Minnesota state bid website rather than new bid. Just to give you a little ideas, our 2017 ATV went for $5,132, which is about $1,000 more than we would have gotten with due bid. We had over 300 people watching that bid. 2018 ATV went for $4,975, which is about $500 more than we would have done. Plus, when you go to do it, you gotta pay a 15% charge, so there's no charge with this.
Sure.
And then we just sold that 1985 Blazer off, and the bid just closed this morning at 10 o'clock for $9,700.
Nice.
So if we would've done that through due bid, we probably would've been around between 5,000 and 7,000. So it works very well, and what's nice about them is due bid will always take the property with them. We can keep it here, photograph it, and I just got the account last Monday. So if the council has anything they wanna get rid of, as far as any state bid wise, let me know, we put it on, we can do a reserve even, and I can make a request for reserve. Anything that's had a title, I have to provide a title online for it, but I can take it on and deal with it, so it's not even just that, I can put it on there and see what it does. I don't know what you're gonna get for it, but a lot of cities watch those state bid sites because, you can find some deals on used equipment.
Maybe a grocery store or something, for compacting cardboard.
Yeah, most of them want to come back.
Right.
So if the city wants to do that, I can get with Sammy, we can take photographs, they usually want at least four photographs, and then I can upload them, make a request, and it usually, I think it's a 10-day bidding process.
Do we still have the old fire truck, or did that go?
I think that way.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think, on this issue here, we don't have a big list in front of us, but we can work on one item. If the council wants to, Council Vertosik can make a motion to put the cardboard crusher on bid by Ty or by Sam, whoever, or Mike, and at least we can do that right now.
And do you want a minimum? We can do a reserve. Would you like a reserve on that?
Well, that's goes to the council again, whatever they want to do, but let's get that out of the way right now.
I think we'd have to look up and see what one
What
is
it's
worth.
worth, yeah, if anything, might be just for scrap metal, who knows?
Because that
what it's
building
worth.
is filling up.
Well, why
with
don't we
some
just
goods
put
also.
it up for bid, and that's it, get put up for bid, and.
Yeah, whatever minimum offer, because otherwise it's not doing anybody any
And-
good there.
Do we have to take it, I don't know if it's how it's tied down, bolted down or whatever,
I
but,
think there's still power to it, and Did you look at Rudy, wasn't
Yeah,
there
there's
wires
power
still
to it,
going
there's a
to
lot
it?
of droppings all over it and in the backside.
Or do you wanna wait till another time for that, to do this?
I wanna
Well,
get
that'd
it
be
done as
nice-
soon as possible.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get it on that bid package as far as that goes.
I mean, I think there's a number of things just walking around the city that we have that are surplus items. I think this is a different conversation, that we have enough stuff throughout the city that we should probably put up for surplus and get it done, get it out of the way. In some ways, we're creating our own city blight, in
Yes.
some instances. So let's sell it, let's get rid of it. We don't need it,
Well,
you know, there's a lot of stuff.
Council wants to use it as a storage unit, we need to get that out of there right away, so let's put it up for bids.
And
But
those,
it's city property, council has to approve putting it out for bids.
Should I
So,
make a motion to put it
Yeah.
out for a bid?
Yeah.
The Cardboard crusher?
yeah.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilor Vrtajnik, supported by Councilor Skirvik to put the city cardboard crusher up for bids. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
And
That's all
another
I have
item,
this time.
another item, as long as those lamp posts that are behind the recycle
Well,
that you
that's what I
guys
was
saw.
thinking. So, but
You know, I don't know if we're gonna,
let's
those
address
are-
that as a
Yeah.
separate.
Getting a
I
list
just wanted to
together.
remind you of that, so we can move on, yeah, whatever, yeah. Right.
That concludes my report.
Okay, Councilor Horn.
The only thing I have for tonight is, the other day I observed some kids up at our local park. They chose, instead of to use the park equipment, to play on one of the outhouses. 3 young kids on a plastic toilet. It's not a good idea. So if you see citizens throughout, or if you know kids that are doing things they're not supposed to be doing, interact or call our friendly local police department to interact on their behalf. I would hate for someone to fall inside of an outhouse. That wouldn't be a pretty sight for anybody.
Must be small children.
Middle school?
Very good point, yeah. Anything else? I got one item here. We need to have Sam, needs some direction from us, because it's maybe a costly item. It's been a while since the main street curbs have been painted yellow for no parking areas. We have the bump outs since 2022, and I think you've only painted it once, but maybe not at all yet. And he talked to the state, they won't paint it. We have people parking on the bump outs at hamburger feeds and all that stuff, and it's very unsafe to be parking out there, almost right next to the lane of traffic. Number one, it's unsafe. Number two, we got a 50th anniversary coming up for our 3rd July parade, and it would look nice to get these curbs painted correctly for safety and for looking for a parade.
Yeah, we have people parking in front of a hydrant every day too, so
And if I-
there are a few areas that should be painted.
Yeah, so, I don't know if he has paint in the budget or not, but if not, this is why I'm bringing it up now. I think we need to get this done.
We're good.
Talk to them
It
about it.
used to be a summer help when we had a bunch of high school kids. That's all they did all summer long.
Yeah,
You were one of them? Yeah. But anyway, I want the council,
There's
okay,
paint all over the road.
to okay the direction to look into getting these painted. Any objection to that? Any opposition to that? I don't know if we can let this lady go or not, but I guess we're gonna let her go.
Thank you, Mark.
6:30, I stood a little late.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, have a great night.
Any opposition to having Mike deal with Sam to get these fire hydrant areas and no parking areas painted on Main Street or whatever it need be?
Do you think there should be a handicap in front of the new dentist's office?
Oh, that has to be done as well?
Dealing with that, Rudy.
Yeah,
That has to be done as well, yeah.
I think they used to have templates, so maybe they still have them.
And I don't know if we have that sign in front of the post office handicap parking either, that we used to have one.
That in front of the post office every morning. Just stand out there for 10 minutes and you can see, it's just, nobody pays attention to parking rules in front of it.
No.
Nobody.
Is it signed and signed there?
There's markings for the handicap
Oh, okay.
on paper.
Okay, all right.
But it's that section between the handicap parking and the bump out, which I think is about one parking spot, but people kind of make it into two, and so the nose of their car is kind of sticking out into traffic, or they're up on the curb, or, you know, they're,
We can move that, council, because it has been moved once by a prior council. We had it on the corner, but we didn't have bump outs at that time. These bump outs came in at the last, we had to put them in by federal law. So many, and we only did the maximum that we had to do, not every block.
Sounds like they need to be marked and identified. That'll
But, you
fit in
know,
with your painting.
I think prior to this, we had it at the corner, but one council changed it from the corner back 2 parking spots. I don't know if that was a good idea or not, so. Didn't want to give up that choice parking spot on the corner.
No,
But now there's a bump out there.
I know, I didn't want it. I voted against it.
Yeah, I know, but
Sorry,
we
that
had no choice in
Well, you
that.
could have moved it to another street, but.
No,
It's
they
it's water
said.
under the bridge.
it's done, it's
They-
there.
no,
Nothing we can do.
The Minnesota Department said it has to go there, so, on that street corner. And so, but anyway, we're okay with everybody, okay, Mike and Sam directing to get the paint and get this job done? All right. All right, moving on, we took care of the fire chief. City attorney would have been next, which I don't think we had anything further, did we? Police chief, Thai teacher. You have anything on?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. A couple things I have is, number one, I know it was brought up about the state seal. Our police department is technically in violation of the state statute in regards to not changing our state seal. I know we had talked about possibly changing the city logo or whatever else from the state seal. And I'm kind of going off the statute where it says it just needs to be phased out as it's been expended. So I feel that to replace our squad cars, it would be $1,500 to put the new steels on our squad cars. But I think as the squad cars get older, I feel like that's being expended, so that's why we haven't spent the money, because I don't have the budget for $1,500 for that. And then also, because of all of our badges have the old state seal, the only issue with that is that's another $1,300 to fix the badges. So I know, I think it was Hennepin County was like $500,000 to change over their squad cars and their badges. So a lot of the smaller agencies, I spoke with other chiefs that were just kind of trying to hold off, saying that unfortunately these badges last 30 years, but I don't know if the council wants to spend the money on it, but it'll be between $1,300 and $1,500 to have the badges converted. So I've been kind of going off that of what the statute says for local governments in regards to, the expended property. It's not expended yet. So I don't know how the council feels about that, but that's a lot of money for a small agency for the seals. That would, and it'd be another $1,000 to convert the other things off the police department. So we're in compliance with our notary public. Michelle has done all the proper, we've gotten all the new stuff for that, but I have not done it for the police department. I just want to make the council aware of that. And I'm due to financial reasons, and then I don't feel like we've expended it yet. So with the possibility of having a new city seal possibly someday, we can always do that. So unless the council wants to spend the money on it, I don't have it in my budget to do it, so.
How difficult is it to get those numbers and like what those items are put in place? Because I think we should be at least aware of it. I think, I read the statute the same way that you do, is that we have some latitude to, like, as things turn over, like a business card or stuff like that.
Yep.
So I think we're probably fine with that.
Yep.
But
I feel that the squad cars as they get old in the next 4 to 5 years, that we'll be able to take care of it then. The badges are the other thing. It's $80 per badge. So, and each officer has 2 badges, so that's where the kind of expenditure is. So I don't think you have to look pretty hard to see it too. It's,
Right.
so. just want to make the council aware on that, so. The second thing is, I know, our City Administrator Scribbage had asked a question, he had received an email in regards to an ATV, into ATVs on Highway 97. A citizen complained about the ATV traffic out there. I know that you're working on a new ATV route system. It is a county road, so
Ty, is your mic working?
yeah, it seems to be working.
I need hearing aids or something then.
It is a county road. However, I did some research on the city of Gilbert had adopted the county ATV ordinance for the county roads. The county roads in Gilbert are Indiana Avenue is a county road, Highway 97 is a county road. So it basically covers those two roads, so they're allowed to operate ATVs in those. The local city government could make a recommendation to pull the county ordinance within the city limits. So you could say, nope, we don't want ATVs on Highway 97, and that ordinance would be pulled from the county, that would be an unallowable county road to operate an ATV on. So, but it just can't be done overnight. It would have to be a process. We'd have to make that presentation to St. Louis County Board of Commissioners, and then I don't know if they do a public hearing or what. So I'm not sure what the council's interest was. I know
You need a hearing.
yep, he did indicate to me that he was notified of an issue. I'm just bringing it to the council that a citizen is making a request that ATVs are not allowed on Highway 97. So that is up to the council. It doesn't bother me either way.
Okay, on these ATVs, if they have all the signal lights and everything, are they allowed to go down the main lane, the traffic lane?
So under this county ordinance, they have to be on the rightmost portion of the improved roadway. So
Yeah.
they don't have to have, blinkers and stuff mean nothing. They don't have to have anything on them, so they have to be in the rightmost portion of the road. We generally make a lot of stops, specifically on 97. A lot of the side-by-sides are running right down the road.
Oh, big time.
Even though they're going
Big
50,
time.
even though they're going 55 miles an hour, we stop them. We don't write them tickets. We tell them, you gotta be in the rightmost portion of the
It's
roadway.
these young kids, they're gonna roll and they're gonna die
Yep.
because they're just crazy on that road.
Yep.
It's just bad.
Yep, so that's up to the council. I have no,
So while Dylan and I are working on this thing, we've actually talked a couple weeks ago about, like, we need to get this forward. So the direction that we're heading right now is, so part of the challenge with ATVs in Minnesota is that there is a patchwork of different rules. And they're different over here, they're different over here, they're different over here. And so ATV riders, regardless if they're a type 1 or a type 2, those are the size differences between the two. Type 2 is generally the side-by-sides, type 1 is generally the single-person one. Is that because of the patchwork, when you have somebody that's coming from Sherburne County, St. Cloud, they come up to Gilbert and they don't know what the laws are. And so we have more restrictive laws in some places than in other places of the state. And so that becomes a problem because people just don't know what the law is. And we are, hate to say it, we're really bad in communicating what our laws around ATVs are, where our trails are, and so it gets to be very confusing. The other piece of it is, in a lot of these cases where there are violations, it is not the people that are coming from outside the region. They are people that are within our city limits or within adjacent cities, particularly if it's from a city around us that has a less restrictive application of the law than what we have. And they will come through and they will basically think, oh, I can drive here and here in Evelyn, I should be able to drive here and here in Gilbert. And so that's one of the things that we're looking at to see how we can make our laws more standardized and less confusing. Because right now, if somebody were to drive, I mean, every other house in town in the city has a side-by-side or an ATV, and people are already driving on our city streets. It was also a little revealing to me to go and look at what our zoning laws are, to realize that our setback laws for houses on streets open up more exposure to intersections than our setbacks for alleyways. So many of our alleys throughout the streets, throughout the town, where our trail access is, are actually blind alleys and putting ATV riders in a greater risk of an accident. So there is that component of it as well. So that's all to say that we're looking at how we can simplify it, how we can streamline it, and make it more universal for people. So that's where we're going with it.
Then, really, another important element is, we have a huge asset with our OHV park. We want people to feel welcome here. We also want them to behave and follow the rules, but we do want to utilize that asset. You know, it's like you got a ski hill, you want people skiing on it. We've got an OHV park. I think we're underutilized as far as the entire state goes. I know people who come up here from all over the state, so, you know, it's definitely an asset for us, and we should try to build on that.
Oh, Ty, how does Wasabi feel about on Enterprise Trail, those going by their shops areas? Are they afraid that somebody's gonna?
They have never made a complaint,
Oh, okay.
even considering how much truck traffic there is on there.
Right,
Yeah, they've
right.
never made a complaint on it, so.
Okay, yeah. You know, that's why if you guys designated a trail, you know, when you come off Enterprise, instead of going down 97, if they just took a right and went back to the trail system. Because I don't know why they're going down 97 where they're going, you know, because there's no really trails out that way. You know, when they're heading towards Ely Lake Drive and, you know, down 97 towards Hutter, I don't know where they're going. I see groups of them coming by.
So I'm going to step back a little bit, and I'm going to be honest in how I'm approaching this. My property is right next to that,
Yeah.
and if you want, I can bring in the trail map that I show all of my customers, and I direct them to not go down 97.
Okay, yeah.
And if I see any of my customers doing that, I do get after them and I issue them my own warning.
Right.
What I see as far as that traffic on 97, they're not tourist type of profile. They are local people.
Local kids, mostly.
And so, so to your question about where they're going or where they're coming from, could be anywhere. Could, you know, kids from Hutter, kids from Evelyn,
But I've,
you know.
these groups that I've seen, like, you know, 6, 7, 8 in a group going out that way.
Well, that's, I mean, that's
Curious,
part of,
I, you know.
that's part of ATV culture in general.
Yeah.
Like anybody that's off-roading knows basically you don't go out to an unknown area alone.
Yeah.
Because if you break down, you need help. So that's why you see packs of people driving.
Right.
And that creates an appearance that, you know, you've got this big group, which, you know, in some cases you actually do. But it's a driver safety issue in a lot of cases. But I don't know that necessarily says anything about what their intent is or where they're coming from or going to.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Short Forest Drive is a county road. That is, I'm talking about the lower road. That is a county road. All of it. All the way. You look over there, you'll see signs, limit so many tons on that road. That's not Gilbert, that's Hunt County doing that. Same with Indiana. So many tons on that road. Well, Short Forest Drive, that's the lower road, county road.
Yep, and I can,
To Ty.
Yep, and I just tried to, because it's not really his problem. We will start our ATV patrols. We started last weekend. We actually ironically did make a DUI arrest on 97 crossing the trail, and at 1:30 in the afternoon, and he was a .30, so almost 4 times over the legal limit. So that was Sunday afternoon. So we are out there patrolling a little bit more. And I'll spend some more time out when I work Labor Day or Memorial Day week, and I'll try to get some numbers for you. But what's happening is you get a lot of people from the Evlith area. They're taking 97 across Chestnut and then jumping the trail so you can get to the 3 bars in Biwabic. So it's a lot quicker going that way than it is taking the trail system because they can just cross across Chestnut. We've actually had a request from Biwabic Township to patrol out there for ATVs out there, and we kind of said if you want to pay us, we'll be more than willing to come out there, but we have our own stuff to do. So, but that's where most of those bigger groups are going. They cut across Chestnut.
And I do want to take an opportunity to point out the value of having a broader 2-city patrolling area that is basically encompasses that entire OHV park area. We're on either side of it, so I don't think that we would have that perspective if it was just us or if we had a different grouping of our
Yeah,
police department.
Yeah, and I'll try to get some number counts. I'm not sure I'm gonna pull it off yet, if I'm gonna put a camera out there. What I can do is I can probably put a body camera on a tree for 12 hours, and then we can go back and scan all the ATVs that went by. So I'll come up with some idea,
Sure.
so.
Anything else from the council for Mr. Ty?
Ty, we brought up a question about blight just in our workshop. And remember when you used to write a list about blight in town? You know, and many people were on it. You had a
I think
long
we had
list.
60 people, yeah.
Can we go back to that because, or?
Yes, so ironically, I know our city attorney's not here tonight, but Brian was working on a document. My intention was to bring it on this council meeting to start having a couple public hearings. Specifically, we're gonna do the first one down New York Avenue East. That's by far our worst property. So I'm hoping to have our first public hearing, or our first closed hearing on a property to do the abatement. And what would happen is, I'm gonna ask the council if they wanna be kind of the judge and the jury on this. And then once you vote to abate the property, then we will go down to the city crew and clean it up, and then invoice the property owner for 30 days. They don't pay it, then we certify it to the taxes.
Yeah, I remember that worked, you know, because you were doing that, presenting those properties.
Yep, and this is the
And-
one
and
that
I
was,
think we gotta
this
go
was supposed to
back.
go to a hearing today, and the paperwork didn't get done, so it'll be on the next one. We also have a jury trial with him in June in the court system too, so.
And then, you know, a differing point, the one I'm talking about.
There's a couple,
You know the one.
yes, okay, I know
Yeah.
exactly, yep.
That's, you know, that's gone on.
Yep.
Well, he's been there for 70 years, as long as I've been alive. But, you know, it's, people shouldn't have to look at that.
Well, ironically,
Yeah.
the owner of this property and the son of the other property hang out, so if that tells you anything.
Yeah, and if it takes, I don't know, you cite them, and then maybe if they don't respond, you fine them. I thought we talked about that before too.
Yeah, so that's the problem. We wrote him a ticket last June,
Yeah.
and it's just going to court here.
But I mean, could we do this in-house like we?
Well, that's
tried?
what we're gonna do. We're gonna do abatement.
Yeah.
That's what I'm moving for. We're gonna try abatement with this property
Yeah,
and see how it works.
right, yeah.
And that'll be the next council. It was supposed to be this council meeting. In fact, I surprised a couple of residents. I kind of promised them it would be done this council meeting, and
Yeah.
it didn't happen,
You
so.
know, because people, they look at that every day and they just shake their head. I mean, geez.
Well, it looks like a war
That's the only
zone.
one on the whole point, you know, really.
Yep. Yep,
That's a problem.
yep, so,
What we talked about is, we have an ordinance about blight in town, and the police department has to enforce it, because we don't have a blight officer, so you are the enforcement of the ordinances. So you don't need to come and ask us if you can go issue a ticket.
yeah, no, we do. We just issued a state citation. It's just to do the abatement, we have to have a council approval. You have to actually,
Abatement is, instead of going to a
yep. And the other
St.
issue.
Louis County judge over there,
Yep.
we are the judge.
So I had a meeting with the other Iron Range chiefs, and it's actually be brought to the mayors here within the next month or so. We're making a request. The issue is that the courts aren't taking the blight stuff seriously. And when these tickets go through, these judges are looking at second-degree assaults, third-degree assaults, burglaries, vehicle thefts, blight, disorderly conduct. Well, it's not the priority of the courts, and what we're trying to do as chiefs, we decide we're gonna get the mayors on board to try to approach the court system and say, hey, can once a month just have clear court calendar for one day, and we just do blight for the 6 cities in the Virginia district, and just have blight court. We have drug court, let's have blight court, and we can just bang it through. And I've actually have had conversations with the blight officer in Evelyn about how that would look and how we can make it more streamlined and make it more consistent, because every city is dealing with blight and it's the same frustrations. It's no city is really winning
It's
on
an
it.
open and shut case, I don't understand it, I mean, just get it cleaned
Well-
up, and if they don't clean it up and put it on their taxes, that's all.
I do need to stand up and be the voice of dissent. We are a country of laws, and in those laws, we have due process.
Oh, this
And
is
that
the
is
due
a critical
process.
piece of enforcing a law, is we do have to give citizens the opportunity, or people that are being accused, the opportunity to prove their innocence.
But we don't have to go through the court system. We can do that in-house. That's been proven. We've done it here
The
before.
abatement, yep.
And but they have to, Paul's saying they must appear before us
We have to
to
give
prove
them
their
the-
innocence.
We have to give them the
Yeah,
opportunity.
right, yeah,
That's no
we're gonna do
problem.
that.
Yeah.
And
But
we've done,
most of the time, they'll clean it up without having to appear.
and they would do that in front of a judge too. But the judges don't wanna do that. I mean, don't take it up at all.
If we are empowered to be that jury, to be that function, great, I think we should. But the important piece is that the person being cited or accused has to have a process where they
Yeah,
can come
well,
and have their case heard.
No
I think if you
question.
look at the ordinances 9341 and 9342, it's an appeals process and abatement by the city. In the event that the property owner shall fail to comply with the destruction order within 7 regular business days that has not filed notice within 48 hours to the city clerk treasurer, the city may employ services by city employees or outside contractors to remove
Yeah,
things,
so it's in
etc.
place.
It's an ordinance.
So if it's in
already.
place and we can do
Yeah,
it, we
right.
should do it.
Yeah. But there's no question about that. And there's the same thing with the judge, but they don't, Ty is telling us, they didn't even wanna take it up.
Yeah, that's why in-house is better, because the courts just get overwhelmed with other things.
Well, it'll move faster, yep.
Yeah, right, yeah. But we have the ability to fine also, right? I mean, you give them a letter a month in advance and say,
We have
we'll
ability
give
to
you a month or 2 weeks,
We have ability to fine them, however, we have no way of enforcing the fine, if you read the ordinance, so.
unless we put it on their taxes.
I'm not sure you can certify taxes with fines. Or
Okay, we
certi-
have to check into
Yep.
that, but yeah.
Cleanup costs, once
Yes.
they've been notified
Yeah.
and had that opportunity.
But not as far as
No, I don't
fining them
think
if
you
they
can fine
don't
them like that.
conform, yeah, right, okay.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Okay. Anybody else for Ty? All right, city engineer, and public works director, I got two things that are not here, maybe council can help me out on. And Mike, we should have a discussion about this somewhere in the next working session. Where are we at with getting our community center project going?
We have a meeting with SEH Engineering next week because I want them to determine what our flat fee will be to work on that project. You've got $1 million. If you let them do it on a normal basis, they'll bill you on every project we do or don't do. We've paid thousands and tens of thousands of dollars out for things we're looking into, and we need a flat fee on that, because if we can't get them to do it for 10% of the total, we're not here to give $250,000 of $1 million to SEH to toy with ideas. And they've come out already and looked at it. Some of the work they've done has been unrealistic. Planning air systems for 350 people in our auditorium when we have 100 chairs. So we're having a very serious meeting with them next week to determine what the cost is going to be. We do need to have an engineering firm based on working with the IRRB, what they want to see, but it can't be an open checkbook like it's been since I've been here. We need to determine what the fee is going to be. And if they don't come in on a targeted budget that we find acceptable, we're going to have to find somebody else to do it. That meeting's next week.
I would think that was already done.
Doesn't work that way, Carl.
Within the concept of that $1 million.
No, the IRRB has pushed us way beyond that because they didn't get to give us the money. The legislature did. So they're holding everybody's feet to the fire and only accepting work from professional engineering firms instead. We gave them a budget and they threw it out the door because that's how they're feeling about it. It's not anything personal. You know, they want everybody to realize that that funding came from them and not the legislature. So it was a big win to get it from the legislature, but we have to work with them and keep them happy because the funding is coming directly out of their mining effects money. So that's where it's at. We've been like this all over the road on it. We've got to make it happen. So we have SEH coming in next week for a meeting. If anybody here, two of you or one of you want to come to that meeting, you are welcome to do that.
I want to get started on some improvements because I don't want to lose that money.
In full agreement with you, Carl. That's why we're going down the road we have.
Not to
We've
get
provided
stuck
that
on-
information to the IRRB on multiple occasions, and now we're at the point where the budget that came in from, we had SEH and 3 different contractors come out there and look at the building for us and develop budget numbers. When SEH came back later and did it on their own, they were $500,000 higher just to change the heating system. So it's not gonna work like they think it's gonna work. We're gonna have to have a team effort to get to the finish line, and we're gonna have to look at the realities of what we have going here. We can't plan for 1,000 people when we only have 100. So we're working on it. I have a meeting with them next week.
Okay, well, Counselor.
So, I mean, I know that part of this project got started with the previous council, but I feel less educated than I would like to be on the whole project.
Sure.
I'd like to have an idea of what the scope is, and I think, I can only speak for myself, but if we're gonna do a project, I wanna at least know what's involved.
Yeah.
And I'd be more than happy to attend that meeting to kind of hold their feet to the fire.
I'll
and see
give
if
you
we
a
can chip
call.
See if we can chip that number down or whatever,
I'm with you.
so.
Yeah, I'm sure they're designing it to, without knowing what kind of numbers are gonna be in there. You know, they're designing it with the space they have, and
Yeah.
they're used to working with other bit larger cities or whatever.
Yeah,
I
they're used to
mean,
the open
you know,
checkbook.
Yeah.
And the reality is that on multiple occasions, we talk to them about what our ideas are and what our plans are, and all of a sudden we get a plan from them, like on the campground with all the little log cabins on there that we told them wasn't a tenable deal in the state of Minnesota because it would take us 50 years to recapitalize them, and there they are in the final plan. So they need to do a better job of listening. We need to do a better job of communicating and letting them know exactly what we're thinking. That Sunday Come to Jesus meeting is next week, and that's why we're having that meeting, because the initial budget numbers we put together with their engineers, and you were there, contractors were all there, they just blew that out the window, and we can't do anything. If we follow their number, we'll get very little done.
I guess they have to.
We've got to tighten it up.
We
That's
gotta
what we're
tell
working
them how many people are gonna be in these rooms, so they could design it accordingly.
That's
At
been
the-
done,
At the
Bob.
max, at the max.
That's been
If
done.
it's only gonna be 100 to 150 there, the max, they should know that, then they can do their plans according to the air exchange and everything else. That
Yeah.
has to be done.
But that's already been told, and the reality is that then you get they send out an ME and an architect from their other office somewhere, and they come out here and they're seeing visions of sugar plums all over the place, and it's a whole different deal
Yeah.
than the one we were talking about. So to get to a better place, we set up a meeting, we'll go through it all. I'll show you our initial budget, and I'll show you what they provided us, but that's where we're at. And we do need to move. We have 2 years to spend the money, but we need to get moving on it to get it spent. So I'm with you.
And to that point, we do need to, along the way, educate the public as to what we're doing with that money.
Sure.
Basically just putting a heating system in. You know, it's not making an auditorium, you know, redoing, it's just putting a heating system in, that's all that money for. You know, there's nothing else left after the heating system, according to the numbers I'm hearing,
Well,
you know?
we had 2 different budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One, there was a lot of money to do other things, and
Well,
one, there's just money to do the heating system.
yeah.
So
There's a
we need to
handicap,
shake it out and get to a better solution. That's where we're at.
yeah.
We need to get more than just a heating system.
handicap
Oh, yeah.
bathrooms downstairs has been
Yeah.
about 4 years already now.
They're all on the list, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
The
all
parking
there.
lot was gonna be paved with, but no, that money's not there after.
To,
you look
uh,
into it
And they may be
actually put-
wrong.
You know, they
You
could
know.
be wrong, yeah.
I have great belief that they're way too up in the stars on this thing. You know, we just need meat and potatoes. We're not out of,
They're giving us what they think we should have.
Yeah.
Well, they're
We
giving
need
us-
to tell
yeah.
them what we
yeah,
need.
and it's their business
Yep.
to make those projects be as big as they
Right.
can be.
Yep.
Yeah,
Our business is to stay within our budget and get as much work done as we can. So we've had very serious talk about this on several occasions. We have it set up for next week. you're welcome to be there. And if you would like to be there, Dylan?
No, quick question, sorry, on the same subject. Are we still moving forward with the DMV project?
No.
Oh, that got
No,
canceled.
no, and I did tell everybody that. I apologize if you didn't
Oh, okay.
hear that. They are going to be in the new DOT building in Virginia. So we worked hard at it, we got close to the finish line. All of a sudden, the DOT, when they looked at their numbers, happened to find some space for them. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
I think with the library and the amount of space, when they do those projects, I understand some of the engineering for the size of the room, like this room can hold only so many people. You know, I was in the cities this weekend at some tournaments, and one of the schools had a large tournament. I mean, my school that I was at, or whatever, they had 5 gyms in one section and dance in another section. But I think it was in Bloomington that they had teams from all over the state come. Somebody said it was over capacity. They cleared out everything. They lost all the money from the tickets, they had to refund everything, and that school was just irate. Because somebody said, 2,500 people, you've got 3,000 people here. Shut the whole thing down. They had to call the police and everything to get.
Yeah, the fire marshal shut it down.
Yep. So it's, I understand some of it, you know, if you have a room that you can say 100 people and maybe it's capacity for 150, they have
Oh,
to
yeah,
do
you
that.
might want a 20% buffer, but you don't need a 300% buffer.
Correct, correct. If you lose 25 to 30% of your grant, you're nowhere.
I mean, just even looking at this very room, this room to me looks like it's at least a capacity of 150 people based on the number of exits we have.
Sure.
So, you know, and we've never seen 150
But if you put a new
people in
heating
this room.
system in and you didn't build your air exchange, if your fire marshal said capacity's 150, and they design the air exchange, it better be for 150. But if you only have 50, then, you know, you're spending money you don't have.
Right, right. But what I'm saying is, this room was overbuilt for what we use it for.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have it.
Yeah, we
We've
are.
got a
we
great
are,
city hall
absolutely.
here, and
Yep.
we're lucky to have it.
On the same note, somebody talked about the boiler down there. Another more important thing that we could handle now is the handicap bathroom downstairs. I've been at funerals down there that were used, and people in wheelchairs had to go down through the alley, up the street, up the handicap ramp to get to the bathroom.
It's in the plan.
I mean, this is uncalled for.
Yeah.
Remember, it's also our civil defense shelter. Now that we don't have the school, we've got St. Joseph's and we've got the community center.
Yeah, and if you don't have a bathroom down there and have no elevator, we have to get this bathroom down there.
That's 150 grand.
Well, it is what it is. We gotta get it done.
First thing you need to get
It's
done is the
already
heating, though.
25 years old already, this problem. Since the handicap stuff, this is why we got this building, because of handicap. That old city hall did not address handicap over there, okay? It's not going away, that's
Hopefully there's
problem.
money left after the heating project to do that. So that would be number 2 on the list.
The gentleman stayed upstairs and listened to all the people talk in the past, and was not gonna come back down around and have to go do this again. So,
It would be nice to get it fixed, Carl.
and somebody says true or false quickly, that picnic area down below at the beach, that thing, I don't know when the last time that had maintenance on it. So, like staining and whatever, it is in bad shape. I was down there for a prom picture session, and it looked like there was no maintenance done for that for long, since it was put up, so.
You should look at the one in the campground. That's the.
Well,
exact
that
same.
one there, I know,
That one's
was
even
supposed to be
worse.
replaced.
Yeah.
I don't know why it hasn't been, it was on the agenda to be replaced.
Yeah. I think we lost the money on it.
Oh. All right, moving on, campground host, nothing, library, first responders, clerk. Mike,
I only have 2 things this evening. I just would like to extend my condolences to the Liamata family Jeremy was our head election judge. He worked with us really closely. He did a fantastic job. It's really sad to see him end his battle with cancer. And then I also want to thank everybody who was a part of cleaning up our recycling area. You guys did a fantastic job, so whoever participated, thank you very much. That's all I have.
So I'm sorry, I wasn't there, but I didn't know, I was been waiting for it on the board here. I didn't see it on the electronic board, and nobody told me. I don't know where I was supposed to find out, so.
So the 4th of July committee is now taking care of the cans down there?
That was my understanding.
Is that?
Yep.
Okay,
And it's been emptied, so.
yeah. Yeah, I see, it looks nice and neat down there, it's not overflowing.
We talked
Yeah.
about looking at a potential trailer down the road.
Yeah.
That's not there yet.
And we also remember that our garbage, Misabi Sanitary, offered to,
I told Sam that.
to take it away for the 3rd of July committee, if that's what, if they were asked to do.
Not to recycle.
No, not the recycling.
No.
That's, they're,
Oh.
if they were asked to do
The garbage
Well,
garbage
garbage on
for
Main
the
Street
4th of
for the
July.
4th of July.
Well, I thought the cans.
No, they don't do anything with the recycling.
If the 3rd of July committee asked them to do that, they would do it for the, not for us, for the committee, for the 3rd of July.
He was saying.
He
said that
clarified for us.
Yeah,
and
he
said they do
clarified.
not do that.
Oh, okay. I thought he did that for some,
He was thinking we were talking about the cans on Main Street,
Oh.
and then we clarified we were talking about the recycling cans to raise money, and then he's like, no, yeah, we don't touch that.
oh, okay, all right. Well, I got it cleared up, okay. All right, anything else? Well pointed, and I agree with you. Jeremy did a good job as election judge. He did it for many, many years, that I know of, yeah. He's a good man, too, a good guy. All right, old business, we don't have none. Okay, new business. We have Ladies Rock Off gambling request. Who wants to talk about that? Mike?
It's just a charitable gambling request.
That we put through for organizations. The application is in here, and the organization name, their ID, and everything that goes with it. So it's just, they need the application approved, and it's normal for us to do this for other organizations and them too, so it's in the packet here.
So everything's
Need a
in-
motion to approve it.
All right, everything's in compliance and ready to go?
Yeah, their insurance certificate and everything's there.
Where are they holding this? Oh, at the West 40.
yeah.
Oh, at your campground, yeah, okay.
And they are also members of the Minnesota Four-Wheel Drive Association. So that's how they get their insurance.
Okay.
All right, everything seems to be in order, all except for the approval by the city council. Motion is
I'll make that motion.
I second.
moved by Councilor Condon, supported by Councilor Horn to approve the Ladies Rock of gambling request. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Abstention.
Well, we have one abstention, Counselor Skirvik abstaining, Counselor Horn, Counselor Vrtajnik, Counselor Condon, and Mayor Oberstar voting yes. 4-1. No nays for that permit, gambling permit. All right. Campground fire rings, recreation, $1,968. I don't see any problem with that. I suppose, I don't know when the last time they ever did.
They've been upgrading them as they wear out over the years, and this is the model that they're buying. They're kind of expensive, but they're very well-made, and they have a grilling rack on it. It's a little over my head, but that's what they're doing, and so that's for 6 of them.
And then this week, the fire chief put an order on no burning in campground or city. For this week.
Probably a good idea.
No campfires whatsoever.
Okay.
For this week, I guess,
Till Thursday, I think?
till the Friday rain comes.
It rains.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm okay with this purchase. I think campground has the funds for that, I believe. I don't know.
Motion.
Huh?
Make the motion to buy the fire rings for the campground. I know that there was a couple of them that were tipped over at one time.
I'll second it for discussion as well.
Moved by Counselor Vrtajnik, supported by Counselor Skirvik to approve the campground fire rings for $1,968. Discussion.
So the only thing I'll notice is that these are the 32-inch size, so the largest size we can get is 36-inch. So this is about the size that you want to have a campground fire ring. These are, you're right, these are the newer ones. They've got the flip-up, flip-down grill, which are the popular ones to have. And I do know, I haven't taken personal count of any of them, but I know that there are a couple of them that are getting older, so I'm assuming that these are the ones to replace some of those older style ones.
Correct.
And I think this is probably second or third year where we've kind of gone through a cycle of kind of getting the worst of
And
the
we need to
stuff.
continue upgrading our campground, maintaining it, so.
Do they barbecue on those or put charcoal underneath and use them as barbecues?
Yes, they can.
They can, generally, campers will, basically put wood under, that's why it's nice to have the 32 inch,
Yeah.
because you can actually have a wood fire under there,
Right.
which is the more common,
Okay.
when they're doing, but it does have the grill that will flip up
Yeah.
for a campfire or flip down for,
Okay.
roasting hot dogs or whatever.
Right.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next, we have the additions to the agenda, the DNR Ridge appraisal and sale of,
That's at item H, Mayor.
what's that?
That is on item H now.
Well, I thought we were gonna
Item
put it.
C, we're gonna just
Okay, all right.
hold off on, and then item H is the DNR Ridge offer.
All right, okay, I'm gonna move on to number D here. Summer hours staffing requests. Again, I'm okay with that, the two, utility clerk and, I don't know what,
Administrative assistant.
administrative assistant clerk to a 4 hour, 4-day work week. But having a Monday through Thursday and a Tuesday through Friday, so we have all days covered still with one person on staff, and you said yourself, you're gonna be out of that,
I'm not doing 10 hours.
okay. So it's only
I'm
between
doing
those
10
two,
today, Carl. I don't do
those
it every
two,
day.
for the months of June, July, and August,
Correct.
but they'll have to work it out between themselves, and you work this out.
I'll
for
work
them,
it out.
Okay?
So the office hours will still be 8 to 4:30,
Correct.
even though they're gonna be here before 8 and
Yep.
after 8, 4:30. Okay,
Hannah usually comes early.
Yeah.
Marion usually stays late.
yeah, okay.
Well, how's that, how can that be?
They'll just close the door at 4:30 then.
So,
The office hours, but they're gonna do the 10 hours.
Yeah, the office
They'll be
hours
here
will be the
after
same.
hours, yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So I'll go ahead and make the motion to create a summer office hours schedule that will provide for coverage every day of the week, of the work week, but to allow the 10-hour days to get that done. I
Okay.
don't know if that's a really coherent motion, but
Yeah, I would say
It's
like Monday to
coherent.
Thursday and Tuesday to Friday.
Between Carl's and yours, we have a very clear understanding of what your expectation is.
my goal is citizens get served, and also we accommodate that request for a summer hours type of function.
I had a motion by Counselor Ponton for that, correct?
That's from
No,
Paul.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh, it's Paul, okay.
Second?
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Counselor Horn. Any more discussion?
So that's the 8 to 4:30 hours, not the 7 to 5.
No, they will work. till
Office
7
hours
o'clock,
will still
but-
be the same,
Yeah.
Rudy.
8 to 4:30, okay, but they'll be here longer.
Yeah, they'll
So
be
when they
here
close it, they
before
can
and
get their
after.
work done.
And it's up to them to decide who's gonna take the Tuesday through and the Monday. You determine that or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
And then if for some reason work's not getting done outside of those office hours when
We'll
you're
go
not
back.
here, you got that under control.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Hiring of summer help for Public Works, Alexis Scatola and Kevin Lind are applications
Everything's in place.
in
Need to
place.
approve those two.
Plus, didn't somebody apply?
That's a different item
Okay,
down the list.
okay. Oh, the last one, I see, yeah, okay.
Somebody want to move to approve the hiring of summer help? Only summer help, and you're gonna watch the hours and stuff like that, so don't go over, correct?
Correct.
Do I hear a motion?
And recall, you've already made a motion.
We have to
Hire
make a.
3 summer helps, and that's been approved by the council.
you know,
This
we have
is
to
just
appro-
approving the employees that applied for the
And
job,
these would be the
to
first two.
actually hiring them, yes.
And did they need a background check, these summer help? Ty, was that part of it? They don't need a
You don't
back.
have to do the student, I can do a quick one, but, the one I've worked for several years, I can do one Alexis, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
Yeah.
required or not with a summer help. Yeah.
It's not a bad idea,
Right.
so.
If the council requires it, it can be done,
Do they
yeah.
have a city badge?
They'll be provided, yep, their picture.
They should have a background check.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and move to hire those two individuals pending background check.
Motion by Councilor Skirvik, supported by
Second.
Councilor Vrtajnik to approve the hiring for summer help of Alexis Catola and Kevin Lind, and also depending on return of a positive background check. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. F, Deputy Clerk Accounting recommendation. Mike?
I provided, as we've been talking about this for months now, but bringing somebody in here, we wanted to wait until we had a new labor attorney, because we suspected we could have some potential issues with the existing contract. She's looked it all over. She's also updated the job description, because this is going to be a confidential position, and so it historically in this town has been a non-union position, and it will be in that job description. So Susan Hanson updated that for us. Everything's in red. We've kind of been waiting to move on this, and the mayor's talked to me about it, and Tom talked to me about it. And so we're kind of heading down that path. We really wanted to get everything cleared up before we got there, but we're at the point where we need to take care of this, and so everything's in place at this point in time. I'd like to post this job.
I'm assuming, since the last deputy clerk left, that the salary stayed in the budget for three positions, or 2 positions anyway, in the budget.
Yeah, we've been having quite a bit of help from outside accounting, because we needed to.
Eating that up,
Yeah,
but.
but moving to this is the best long-term solution for the city, and it's what everybody has requested for quite some time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that until we went through the vetting process with the attorney to make sure that we don't paint ourselves in the corner, because historically, there have been issues regarding that position and the actions previous councils have taken. So I want to make sure we're on the right side of the rain here, and everything's in order. So
I'm just
now-
saying, I'm just asking, the salary amount, it was there, but it has been used for other things to, like this, to get this paper written up, and for
Correct,
our HR stuff.
yeah.
But if we do this and go out and hire somebody, there is leftover money to get that started?
We will be struggling, but we'll survive it, and it's what needs to
Because there will,
happen.
will be no more need for the other stuff.
Correct.
Yeah. So this has been looked
I
at by,
discussed this with the personnel committee. They've both looked at it.
and
where we're
Brian hasn't looked at it, or maybe?
Brian's not going to look at it. Our HR attorney looked at it.
Okay. But, okay, if everything's in order,
I just had one question on, we didn't list any benefit package. Is that gonna be taken care of when the
That's
contract?
part of our personnel policy, Bob.
Okay,
That's nothing to do with this.
right, okay.
Probably a related question. So is this, is it, I'm looking at this from a perspective of kind of like the equal opportunity employment hiring process. Do we have a policy for the
That's the
city?
policy we always follow, Paul.
Okay, that's
If
what I was
someone's a
assuming.
veteran, they get extra points.
Yep,
I mean,
that's
there
what I was
are
assuming.
things in our personnel policy that, by legal standards, tradition, caution, that we make sure we follow all the proper guidelines when hiring. So that's, it will all be done by the book.
Okay.
And I'm not taking any action without passing it by our labor attorney, and she's very good and did an excellent job. We had a conference call, went over all this. She sent me the updated form. So we're in the right spot.
so what are we doing here? Okaying, moving to okay this
Posting this job.
and posting it?
Yeah, we're not hiring anybody.
So
Posting it.
where will it be posted then?
On the League of Minnesota City site.
Is there any other sites?
We put stuff in the
locally?
paper here. I don't know if anyone ever sees it.
Yeah, that's the thing, it probably
know,
doesn't, but,
I'm not a big believer, I'm not a big
Maybe
believer
Paul,
in,
yeah, better
Well,
sites.
some of the other ones, but
I would suggest for this one, because this is a pretty high profile
yes, it is.
position. For sure, League of Minnesota Cities, yep, absolutely. It should be on our website, we should have something that's a graphic or something posted on our Facebook page. Hometown Focus is our paper of record.
don't-
This is one that I would say we would probably wanna go a little bit more than our paper of record and say Mesabi Tribune, cause it reaches further out into the other side of the range.
I'm just not a big believer in the newspaper.
Yeah, it's locals don't.
I don't get much, and I'm not, also, I'm not a big believer in Indeed, because they'll send me 40 applications of people who
That
are
are not
not
qualified.
qualified in any way, shape, or form, and I've had horrible success with Indeed. But maybe somebody else had better success. There are other ones out there. What other ones are there besides Indeed? What's the other one? It's slipping my mind.
LinkedIn,
No, not LinkedIn. It's another hiring thing. It's like Indeed, but
Monster, Indeed.
Yeah, I have a colleague, former colleague that is an HR professional that is actually on the board for the league. I can send her a message and see if we can get some ideas of good places to
Sure.
post.
yeah.
She's a professional, she works
No,
in
I'm
HR
wide
all the
open.
time.
I've posted it in the Mesabi and I've posted it in the Hometown Focus. We've used Indeed one time. I got 0 off of it. But I hired a fantastic accountant off Indeed 10 years ago. Best person I ever hired. So, anything's possible.
Yeah.
But my personal experience with Indeed is that I get a whole lot of people who worked at a convenience store, now they're an accountant.
So with Indeed, because I use it for my business and I've used it professionally as well, they now have tools in there where applicants cannot apply unless they meet certain specifications and
Sure.
qualifications. And you as the poster get to
Yeah.
basically put out exactly what you
Sure.
want.
Since you're familiar with that, Dylan, then if we choose to
Yeah.
use them, will you work with me on that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So, but
Yeah, I think we need a wider net.
Yeah, this one, like I said, it's a high profile position, we need to cast as wide of a net as possible and get somebody who's qualified.
Yeah,
to,
absolutely,
you know,
that's the
to do
goal.
this. So-
We shouldn't hire, we should
We
not
may
hire,
find- we
we
may
should
find
not
some-
hire anyone who is not qualified.
Correct.
Right.
We may find somebody in Gilbert, we may find somebody in Virginia, we may find somebody wherever, but we have to cast a wide net.
Okay, what are the dates of this posting if we,
I'll take care of that, Carl. I guess what I'm looking for is a motion for you to allow me to post it and effectuate any activities it takes to get to the interview process.
Okay.
At that point, then we'll interview, and you guys go from there.
okay,
I
I'm
will make that motion.
I second.
Motion by Counselor Skirvik, supported by Counselor Horn to allow the city clerk to go out and post for deputy clerk / treasurer position. And other details upon receiving applicants. We'll move on with that later.
Yep.
You'll do the
The slow
posting.
process.
Any more discussion on that? We're allowing and approving the clerk to go out and post for deputy clerk / treasurer for the city of Gilbert. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And this is very needed. He or she should be almost equivalent to you. If you
I
were
hope they're
to,
better than I am, Carl. It's always my goal.
if you were laid up somewhere in a hospital, somewhere in Montana or somewhere,
No, hiring good people is important, no matter who we hire, you know, the talent that we bring here, this is a long-term place to work.
Yeah.
So if we bring somebody in, we want them to be good. And
right,
It's important.
and equivalent to you, I could say, I
I'm
could ask
Steve.
he or she any question that you would know. And
Sure.
and you could change places tomorrow if you were laid up somewhere.
Not putting a curse on me or anything, are you,
No,
Carl?
I'm not, but you know what I'm saying.
Just checking.
Everybody needs a backup.
No, I agree.
Call the backup.
Yeah,
Do we vote on that?
we already did.
Motion carries unanimously, okay. Okay, and H, we had,
It's the DNR Ridge offer.
DNR Ridge offer of $82,000. $800, $82,800. Gilbert, council approve or disapprove of that?
I move to approve the sale to the DNR.
A second.
Motion by Counselor Horn, supported by Counselor Vrtajnik to approve the sale of, what is the parcel code here?
It is the Ridge property, and I have the parcel codes on that document.
I'll make sure that's in the minutes.
It will be.
Of a sale from the city of Gilbert to the DNR of the Ridge property with the parcel code that will be added to this motion. Okay? For $82,800. It's basically up on top of the Indiana Avenue across the highway, the big rock cut up there, that big rock pile up there. Okay? That area, 20 acres or so. Was it 20?
It was close to
40?
30. It was close to 30, yeah.
55.23
Yeah.
acre parcel.
Two, yeah.
20 was the original.
One's 20 and one's 22, I believe.
30-something, yeah.
All right. All in favor, say
Hi.
aye. Aye, opposed, say nay. Motion carries with a 2/3 plus vote, unanimous. Next, reopen applications for summer help.
Item I, when we initially made the summer help thing, we said we're gonna hire 3 people, and because we're still filling that Tim spot here, we are short this summer, so we had another applicant come in, but I told him, unless the council reopens it for a week, I can't accept your application, because that application period was closed. So I'd like to reopen that application period for a period of 7 days, and we can consider that other application at our next council meeting.
And this would be the third summer hire.
This will be our 3rd summer hire. And as we talked today, that might be a person that, instead of having one of our mechanics or equipment operators mowing grass at the cemetery, we would probably put one of those summer people full-time up there so that we can use our resources more wisely.
I'll move to open the application for another week.
I second.
Moved by Counselor Vrtajik, supported by Counselor Horn to reopen hiring of city worker, summer worker for another week. Any more discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Anyone on this miscellaneous here?
Mis- One miscellaneous on this house on the hill, the apartment. Where do we stand with that? Is he the cease and desist or anything?
There's no cease and desist, but he
Yeah.
has to follow the guidelines for Minnesota Power. Sam has talked to him on multiple occasions. They met up there with Minnesota Power. They were supposedly in agreement, then out of nowhere, the guy's like, maybe I'll build a deck there. They told him, no, you can't build a deck there. So there
So-
is a permit in place that previous council approved, but there are two options. Either he follows the rule book, or he can raise the poles for half the price of burying the wire. He can raise the poles and go overhead.
When I was talking the upper level, that it's gonna be out of compliance as far as height, because that's the auxiliary building, and he's not allowed, you're not allowed to go over 35 feet on that building, and he's gonna be over that when he puts a peak on that roof. So I don't believe he's allowed to put that
Sure.
apartment complex on
How would
top.
you like to proceed?
I think he's gonna have to stop and just keep it as a garage and be done with it. That's my opinion.
So he does have a permit that was issued? Does it have dates on that permit?
I believe there are dates on it when it was originally approved, but I don't think we have a sunset clause.
2 years.
Is it? Okay. I can look into that tomorrow.
But he's still out of compliance, you know.
He is out of compliance,
Yeah, if
but
he's
he
gonna
told,
build
he
that
told
over
the,
35
he
feet.
he told the council it was gonna be a residence up there. And that's kinda how it got approved, that he was gonna have running water and sewer in that building. And yet, it seems there wasn't a lot of direction. That's when we had a planning commission that got approved. It seems to me there are some things that aren't perfect.
Yeah, because the
So-
setbacks that you gave us last week in our packet is plain, that any auxiliary building over 35 feet is not allowed on a property.
You're
And
correct.
that's what he's trying to do, you know, so he's against the rules, he's going against,
I'll
Well,
hand
you would
it
have
to
to ask
Brian
for a
tomorrow.
variance for that,
yeah,
You'd have to ask for one.
you'd have to ask for one.
yeah.
But now you got an issue of that, still have the issue with the electrical there.
Well, the variance still wouldn't be approved. On the issue over 35 feet, number
Oh,
one.
right, yeah,
Right.
right.
Number one, and then that other issue could come into play too.
I guess my question is, it's a legal one, and unfortunately Brian's not here to answer it, is, so if he has a permit that has been issued by the city, so we have said you can build based off of the information he provided, what cause do we have to stop construction after we've already approved it?
That's a Brian question.
Yeah, I don't know what the,
Because what I don't want to get us into is like, if we say, okay, you have to stop building and you have to tear this thing down, is there any risk to the city because we've said you can move forward?
The city has done this in the past,
yeah.
where they've made someone remove the second story.
Yep.
So I don't know, but it's an attorney question. I'll reach out to Brian.
Yeah.
I was drove up there today and it's got the walls up already for the 10-foot setback. The other wall, the studs are up already.
Yeah, this is what we see in this picture, yeah.
Well, it's a good point. There's been a approval of a permit already. So the building could be built, whether we got a safety issue there. So something's gotta be done with the poles.
And if the planning and zoning allowed them to do this without knowing the rules, where does that leave us? I don't know.
Right.
Well, again, it's a Brian question because, you know, the rules were here before.
Yeah.
Even if you approve a permit, he still has to follow your
Yes,
ordinances.
That's true, that's right.
You know,
Yep.
but nonetheless,
Yeah.
it's a sticky situation and, you know, it's long before I was in the zip code or anybody on this council was.
Well, we gotta have Brian look at that right away.
Yeah.
Dylan?
I was gonna say, can we have you get with Brian so he
Sure.
has an educated answer next meeting to tell us
Sure,
versus I need to
yeah,
look into it.
absolutely.
Can we look at the permit? I mean, can we have a copy of the permit?
I'll give Brian the permit, I'll give him everything. Permit, ordinance, let him look at it and tell
The
me what he
drawing?
thinks.
The drawing?
I don't believe
Yeah,
the
he
guy
should have.
followed the original drawing that he drew, because he was gonna be further back. He pulled that garage further
Well,
this way, but I don't have intimate knowledge of the thing,
Well,
so
see, that-
I
that
don't
might
really
actually
wanna,
be-
I don't wanna comment on it until Brian reviews it, so why don't we
Yeah.
just let Brian take a look?
That may be our out, because if the design has
be.
changed from what was originally submitted, that could invalidate the permit.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if his permit expired because he didn't get the work
Right.
done in 2 years.
I heard it was a 3-year-old permit.
I believe it's 3 years
That's
old.
what I heard from
Well,
people
2 years
that
is,
are in the know, so.
that's
we'll
all,
see.
that's what I understand is 2 years. You know, anything, well, I got one more miscellaneous we have to take up, we have to take it up, is I hope we can approve this Anthony Slavich variance. I think it's,
Oh, yeah, we have to.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make that
I
motion?
have no problem with it, it's not hurting nothing over there, and it's only a 3-foot,
I-
not the 6-foot, it's only a 3-foot.
I think
variance.
he's gonna have to get a variance, though.
Huh?
I think if you're gonna approve it, he needs a variance.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, he's asking for the variance.
Well, no, it's not, doesn't work like that. You can ask for it, but then there's a process. You'll have to have a public meeting, I believe, and
That's right, the neighbors have to approve it.
you have to notify everybody within 300 feet.
Yep,
It's not a,
Well, this should have went to the planning and zoning
we
then.
don't have a planning and zoning.
We don't have it?
We don't have a planning and zoning.
Well, then we have to take care of it, so we have to set up a special,
So he's gonna have to
Sure.
apply, and we have to go
He
through
did
the
apply.
process, yeah.
Yeah.
He's-
Okay, so we gotta
well,
finish the
if you want me
process.
to
Why we
move
don't have
forward
a-
with the process, I can do that.
Yeah.
well, we need to have you set up this. Council will be the planning and zoning for that, okay?
Yeah, and it doesn't, we can move forward with that because, until you have that public hearing and give it final approval, then that's fine.
Well, set up the date for the public hearing and notify all the neighbors around that.
Yeah,
And set a date up for us to choose, okay?
yep,
And not in November, because he wants to get this done now. But we're gonna have to do what they're not here to do,
They
okay?
never did it before, Carl, so.
You never did that?
I said they never did it before. It's
Who's that?
incumbent upon us to take care of it, because nobody was taking care of it before. What you have in place right now, that's what they were doing. So,
I know there's a form of 5 questions that gotta
Yeah.
be asked or
I
something.
get that.
and didn't we have another property down the street from that one that was too close to the sidewalk too, that, I don't know where that went?
That property did not have a permit, we determined.
Oh, not even a permit for that
That
deck.
property just
Yeah.
started building.
Uh-oh.
So that's a compliance issue. So, and that was clearly not compliant with setbacks.
So what do we do with that one? What, are we stopping that one, or having them take it down, this deck? That's another Brian issue, yeah.
We just approved one, where the old Conoco garage was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They turned into a house, and they wanted to come on Nebraska Avenue side, all the
You're
way
gonna
to
have to
the
give me
curb, and that was no way.
Right.
And so they could go around to the patio. You can go up 2 houses up here, and you can see another one. I don't know if
Just-
that could.
yeah, it doesn't make it right, just because
No.
people did it,
Yeah,
You could just walk up the street here,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
can see something.
Yeah, no, it's all over. I've seen it everywhere.
yeah.
I've seen
But anyway-
substandard construction, seen a
You-
lot of
The
things.
council needs a motion or consensus, council to have you set up
I don't think that's necessary, Carl.
the public hearing?
Well, the public hearing is necessary.
I know
Well,
that.
yeah.
I don't think we need we don't need to have a resolution to have.
No,
like,
no,
act.
no. Well, for you to
Let me
go
start
ahead.
the journey, and it'll be ready at the next council meeting.
Okay, all right.
Plus that other one down the street from him too.
Well, you give
We're
me
gonna-
the address.
Just for
Yeah.
clarification on the process, so we do have to, for the public, for a variance, we have to notify within what?
300 feet.
300 feet. if
So all of the neighbors will get the
Letters.
opportunity to
Get
come to
letters,
the
yeah,
hearing.
normally letters.
And then,
Yeah,
here's the date.
Put it on the agenda,
yeah.
Okay.
make it a part of our council meeting, so we don't have to have a separate meeting.
Yep.
We'll get to it before the meeting.
Yeah.
Like at a working session,
No,
half
we'll go
hour
ahead and
working
we'll
session,
put it
half
on-
hour hearing.
We'll, if we have a public hearing, we'll suspend our meeting, have the public hearing, come back in our council
Yeah.
meeting.
Or we can have a public
Instead of
hearing
having
at
a
5
separate
o'clock
meeting.
and a working session at 5:30.
You can just slide it right into the agenda. Carl.
Right, yeah.
It's usually what you do.
Whatever works. Okay, but let's get that process going. You don't want a motion, you
Go
got
ahead.
the direction from us
Sure.
already.
We can do that.
Somebody want to make a move to have the clerk set up a public hearing
I'll
for
go
the
ahead.
Anthony Slavich variance
I'll go
request?
ahead and make that motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Counselor Skirvik, supported by Counselor Horn, to have clerk set up public hearing date and session for the Anthony Slavich variance request. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay, any else?
I have one thing.
Counselor Horn.
I am requesting that Mike meet with, Sam sometime this week and just get a feel for, basically, I want Sam to provide some kind of plan for the spring and the summer of like, what kind of projects is he gonna work on throughout the city? Because there's some things the city councilors and I myself would like him to focus on, but I wanna give him that opportunity to come up with that stuff first.
Fair enough.
Before we start piling
Got
things
7
on.
items on them here, so I'll ask him for that 8th one, and I'll say, it's early.
Yep.
There's some things we'd like to make sure happen this summer.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what your vision is?
Yep, then we can prioritize.
We need to,
Schedule's the key.
Yeah.
A schedule is the key.
I think you're thinking things like, readiness for Memorial Day, readiness for 4th of July.
Yeah,
You know,
one-off
things
things,
like-
not,
we're sealing the parking lot.
yeah,
Right,
Exactly.
what are the big things that are gonna take up your
Yeah.
time?
But also a schedule when to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you
Weather
have a
permitting.
you have a list and
Weather permitting,
and it
of
never
course.
gets touched unless you schedule it to get done.
Yeah.
Then it may get done or should get done.
but at least this is a first part of the process of getting some of these things knocked off
Right,
around the city.
yeah, yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for Ty on the broken windows at Minnesota.
Yeah, Berta's Boutique.
Birdie's
Yeah,
Boutique.
I saw that today.
Yeah, we're working on it. The issue was when the incident was happening, they texted one of my officers instead of calling 911, so there was a 15-minute delay. But we've got a suspect in mind. Two individuals, I guess, were not U.S. citizens, so we're working on some follow-up with the Border Patrol and Customs, and 2 others that we had dealt with have since been deported, so we're still trying to track one more person down. I guess that's all I can say at this point. So
Okay.
the other thing, I guess, yeah, so that's where I could talk more a little bit after if you'd like to know more, but yeah, we're dealing with a couple of issues there, so. So we're dealing with that right now. And the second thing I forgot to bring up during normal business was at the next council meeting, there'll be a request for the street dance on July 4th. So that's when the South Barns are going to be making the request to have the 4th of their street dance. It's not a huge deal, but I just want them to understand that we've never had the street dance on the 4th of July, and we usually put 2 officers on for the street dance, and that is very expensive because it's a holiday, overtime holiday, so it's
Don't you have a parade in Mowabic at the same night?
Yep, but we don't usually have full staff on for that, so we'll have to have 2 over here for that street dance, so.
Wow.
Just make the council aware that's gonna cost an additional $1,000 close to for.
We have paperwork that's gotta be filled up, insurance waivers and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, I'm just letting the council be aware that if there's an issue that there may need to be some conversation about having another day, I'm just making them aware, so.
If these people are gonna be serving alcohol, like last year on the sidewalk,
Yep, they
outside of their bars, let's make sure that they understand that paperwork needs to get here.
Yep, they
They
usually
won't
do
get
it
it
the
approved,
second council meeting of May every year, so.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
And just on that note, are gummies and marijuana, are people able to go to that dance and start smoking on the street now, or where are we with that?
Well, so in regards to smoking, they cannot,
No public, no
not
public
public, no.
smoking?
Well, they can do the gummies and they can do the THC drinks and everything else.
Right,
So I just want to go back to what happened to Berta's. So my question is Berta okay, and is she still open?
I'm not aware I don't know if she's open or not. She's fine. Yep, this happened at approximately 1:15 in the morning,
Okay.
a couple Saturdays ago. So, like I said, I think the problem would have been solved if there wasn't a delay in reporting, but it is what it is. So, we've had to have, there's a lot more to the story, so.
I know they're gonna remodel that building, and I don't know if they need permits or anything like that, because they have 5 apartments upstairs right now in that building, 1 downstairs. They're gonna make 4 apartments upstairs, redo the bathroom, things like that. So I don't know if we have anything for apartment buildings, for occupancy, or
Or for
whether they have to have
remodel.
bathrooms in the apartments, or anything like that.
We don't have a code, so it's kinda
Yeah.
do what you want.
We don't have a rental property code in
Yeah.
our ordinances.
So they could have 12 apartments up there, it wouldn't matter.
I mean, the fire marshal might wanna, know about it. I don't know. It's something we don't deal with. Somebody should.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Vrtajek, supported by Counselor Skirvik to adjourn at 7:57. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Good night. We are adjourned.